the headlines tonight, fighters of the terrorist TPLF under custody expose barbaric acts by their commanders. Ethiopian athletes triumph in Copenhagen and Sydney. Good evening to you all. A very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. Terrorist TPLF militants who surrendered to the Ethiopian National Defense Forces said their own commanders killed them while they retreat. They considered that the only and ideal option for them is to surrender to the federal forces than butchered by the terrorist group warlords for their retreating during the fight. The terrorist TPLF militants who surrendered to Ethiopian National Defense Forces from various fronts told ETV that children of Tigray are being trampled like leaves in the war, and leaders of the terrorist TPLF do not even think about their own people. According to the prisoners of war, underage Tigrayans are being forcefully thrown into the flames of the war, only to shield the barbaric group war chiefs and being sacrificed for hollow cause. Daniel Romha, one of the prisoners of war, confessed that he and his colleagues have spent 6 days in a front feeding grass and leaves, waiting to surrender to Ethiopian National Defense Forces instead of retreating and getting slaughtered by the terrorist group war commanders. Another young prisoner of war, Mulugeta Gebrehiyot, said he have been forcefully recruited into the war, but we opted for the right decision, that's to surrender to the National Army. The prisoners of war stated that the leaders of the terrorist TPLF stood at a distance to save their own lives, but much of the poor family Tigrayan children are dying. The Scoop Independent News Editor-in-Chief Alastair Thompson said the international community needs to realize TPLF is inherently not a reliable negotiating partner in any respect. Thompson also called on the international community to stand with the Ethiopian perspective as there are scapegoating on the resumption of the war. Shagayo Mata has more from Ethiopian News Agency.
Thompson, who is an observer of the northern Ethiopia situation, stated that the Ethiopian government had created a peace committee and it was willing to accept talks anytime, anywhere and without any preconditions. However, the government's positive move did not eventuate, he added. The journalist said the TPLF started the third round of war on the 24th of August 2022, which dismayed everybody and blown up the peace effort, adding that the terrorist group is not a reliable negotiating partner.
TPLF clearly prepared to go ahead with the war and then proceeded to start the war on the 24th at 5 a.m. in the morning on the 24th of August. And I mean, I think that was a shock to everybody. Certainly was a shock to me. TPLF claimed that the government had repositioned troops there, but I mean, the government would have been aware that TPLF was moving its troops as well, probably preparing for that attack. What we've seen over the course of the last 2 years makes it clear that the TPLF are not a reliable negotiating partner in any respect. I mean, they've refused to negotiate throughout the war.
Thompson indicated that the TPLF is quite busy working with other terrorist groups like Al-Shabaab and Shani, which made an attempt to attack in the eastern Ethiopia, adding that Sudan supported to training fighters in bordering areas.
The fact that Sudan has allowed training of fighters and is allowing those fighters over the border is pretty serious in and of itself, but I mean, it could get a lot worse.
The international community needs to understand Ethiopia's reality as the international perspectives have opposing views over the conflict, he added.
I think the international community struggled to understand the Ethiopian perspective on this conflict because the international perspective on this conflict is diametrically opposed. In the international perspective, the TPLF are sort of freedom fighters who have been oppressed by Abiy Ahmed, who's a Peace Prize winner, who doesn't deserve to be a Peace Prize winner, and is really genocidal or something. And the Ethiopian perspective is that they have experienced 23 months, I think, nearly 22 months, not quite 23 months, of this war, which has devastated the country and has been badly reported in the international media.
Thompson reproached the international media for their biased and fake news that perplexes the international community not to understand the fact about Ethiopia.
Ethiopian embassy in Djibouti stated that child soldiers conscripted by the terrorist TPLF are betrayed by the international community that remains unmoved by their untold agonies. The terrorist TPLF has been forcing each household to trade at least one fighter for food aid enlisted underage Tigrayans into the flames of the war it initiated, yet the international community was praising them as the underdogs instead of condemning their international war crime. The embassy was baffled by international community's ignorance of the crime. This silence has surely emboldened the monstrous TPLF to continue actively recruiting thousands of underage Tigrayans as its first line of defense, draining the future hopes of the region, said the embassy. Ambassadors of various countries expressed their keenness to work in cooperation and support Ethiopia's efforts to bring durable peace and prosperity. The ambassadors also extended best wishes to Ethiopian New Year. The Saresa has compiled Ethiopian news agency's file.
Women actresses of the Ras Theatre visited the embassies of the US, United Arab Emirates, South Korea, and China in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and presented a cultural, authentic Enqutatash chanting in front of the ambassadors and their staff. The actresses also expressed their New Year wish, paying visit to the ambassadors of the countries and their embassy staff. Charge d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia, Tracy Ann Jacobson, has expressed keenness in the efforts to make Ethiopia's journey of peace and prosperity a reality.
The people of Ethiopia, we want to help contribute to peace and prosperity in this country, and we're dedicated to helping Ethiopians in need wherever they may be. And I feel extra energized now to get back to work because of your fantastic singing and dancing. And thank you very much for coming here first as you travel.
South Korean ambassador to Ethiopia, Ambassador Kang Soo-kye, on his part, extended his New Year wishes for Ethiopians.
Welcome, Addis Ahmed. Welcome, Enqutatash. Thank you very much. I wish Ethiopia and all Ethiopians very happy New Year. I wish Ethiopia peace and prosperity in the new year. Korea will become a good friend to Ethiopia always. We will help Ethiopia achieve peace and prosperity. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Good luck.
Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia, Zhao Jian, underscored that such cultural events are of irreplaceable importance in order to cement ties of the Ethio-China partnership even further.
There is no doubt that cultural exchanges like this are of vital importance to enhancing our mutual cooperation and understanding and friendship. The Chinese embassy will do its utmost to try to enhance cultural cooperation and exchanges between our two sides.
United Arab Emirates Ambassador to Ethiopia, Ambassador Mohammed Salim Al-Rashid, also stressed his best wishes for the Ethiopian New Year.
Thank you so much. I am very happy to see the traditional dance of Ethiopia and here in the embassy. Malcolm Addis Ahmed. Thank you so much.
Director and actresses of the Ras Theatre stated that preparations have been finalized ahead for this particular event to show the world how different the Ethiopian calendar is.
አስተማሪው ማስተማር አለበት፣ ነጋዴው መነገድ አለበት፣ ወታደር አገሩን መጠበቅ አለበት እንጂ ሁሉም ነገር ወደ አንድ ዳይሬክሽን ብቻ እንዲሄድ ካደረግን እንደ ሀገር መቆም አንችልም። ዘንድሮ ስንዴ ምንም ጥርጥር የለውም ኢትዮጵያ ኤክስፖርት አደርጋለች። መስራት ከቻል መብላት ከቻል መላክ ከቻል በተቃራኒ ያለው መራብ ከጠፋ ማስገባት ከቀነሰ መሰደድ ከቀረ በኢትዮጵያን ሉዓላዊነት ላይ በኢትዮጵያን ክብር ላይ በኢትዮጵያን አንድነት ላይ ቀጥተኛው ኢምፓክት አለ።
Killing of innocent civilians, recruiting of child soldiers and using them human wave tactic among others by the terrorist TPLF has sent shockwaves among all Ethiopians and friends of Ethiopia. Also, while taking control of towns in both Afar and Amhara regions, the TPLF has smeared its hands in blood, massacring innocent civilians and causing massive destruction in property. This being the glaring reality, most of the West and the US, with the mainstream media tagging along them, have opted to turn a blind eye to the plight of Ethiopians. What's even more outrageous is that the TPLF Western backers are out there doing some smear campaign, making it look like Tigray has witnessed the worst human rights violation by Ethiopian and Eritrean forces. Take a look at the following report.
Unable to cope with the reality of losing grip on federal power, the TPLF assaulted the Federal Defense Barrack in Mekelle in November 2020, prompting Ethiopia to defend itself.
The EU says that drone strikes on a major city in Tigray in the north of Ethiopia endanger a very fragile hope of peace. Now, according to hospital officials in the city of Mekelle,
a months-long investigation has uncovered detailed evidence of the massacre of dozens of civilians in the Tigray region of northern Ethiopia.
Although the nearly 2-year war, the West and its Spartan media outlets have left no stone unturned to keep the TPLF off the hook and lay blame on the Ethiopian government. After miserably failing to restore the TPLF to its much coveted power in Addis Ababa, its Western backers are trying a human rights violation stunt. As part of this move, the United Nations Human Rights Council has appointed 3 human rights investigation team experts enabled to investigate the situation of human rights in Ethiopia. The government of Ethiopia expressed its concern repeatedly that United Nations officers have violated the international principle as well as shared arguments by supporting the TPLF cliques now and then. These United Nations officers have put aside the principle of transparency by conveniently ignoring the TPLF flagrant violation of human rights in Amhara and Afar states. The so-called International Commission of Human Rights expertise has dipped its head once again in the internal affairs of the country by suggesting to bring about transitional justice and accountability, a concept very much fine-tuned with interests of the TPLF. Stating that it has appointed 3 judges, the Commission went on saying that impunity still remains rampant in Ethiopia, even urging the Ethiopian government to bring perpetrators to justice. The Commission is making it look like the Ethiopian government is not interested in conducting investigations and allowing access to conflict-affected areas. Also, the Commission suggests consultations with actors in neighboring countries, a very dangerous and dubious move given to TPLF agents sheltered in neighboring Sudan as refugees. In conclusion, this move is meant to boost the TPLF's international media stunt and apply undue pressure against the Ethiopian government to bend to the interest of the West.
Patrons of the Inter-Religious Council of Ethiopia have visited the progress of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, and its current status. During their visit, patrons of the council wished the Ethiopian New Year to be a year of peace, hope and unity for Ethiopia. They also blessed the dam and prayed for Ethiopia and workers at the dam, urging all Ethiopians to do their part for the peace and unity of the nation. The patrons also gave their blessings to the construction crew. Johannes Van Town takes up from here.
The patrons reviewed the construction stage of what's expected to be Africa's biggest dam upon completion. The leaders of each denomination conveyed a congratulatory message for all Ethiopians and expressed hopes that the flagship project would come to its much-anticipated completion as scheduled. Representing the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, His Grace Abuna Abraham underscored that Ethiopia's steadfastness exhibited throughout the construction of the dam is a symbol of its continuity.
ሰላማችን ቢሰፍን አንድነታችን ህብረታችን ቢጠነክር
I have every reason to believe that the dam is a symbol of our ability to stand up to challenges and that we shall prevail no matter what. I am pleased by what I saw up here today and would like to congratulate all those who have been toiling to make the dam a success.
ያላችሁትን በሙሉ እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ እላለሁ.
President of the Ethiopian Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Haji Ibrahim Tufa, for his part said the dam is a project indicative of Ethiopia's undying desire for fair and equitable use of the Nile waters.
አላህ በሰጠነው ኒዕማ ሳንጠቀም የቆየኑ
It is a pity that we squandered a splendid opportunity to take advantage of the untapped natural resources found in an abundance for quite long. However, the nation is beginning to savor a moment of hope thanks to the undertaking here at Guba. This project helps solidify our unity.
The president of the Ethiopian Catholic Church, His Grace Cardinal Brhane Jesus Swafil, says that the GERD is a project meant to snap millions of Ethiopians out of the quagmire of poverty.
This dam is our way out of the vicious circle of poverty and a resource to share with our neighbors. The water that goes past the dam benefits all the neighboring countries. It is a manifestation of our unity for Ethiopians.
Interreligious Council General Secretary Reverend Tagai Tadele said sacrifices are being paid unreservedly on various fronts to maintain the unity and sovereignty of Ethiopia, adding that at the dam's sites to admirable work is being done day and night to realize Ethiopia's prosperity. Ethiopia has successfully attained its third filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam in August 2022.
Indonesia's ambassador to Ethiopia, Al-Busria Basnoor, said the Trade Expo Indonesia that take place next month will open the eyes and minds of Ethiopian business persons about Indonesian potential. In the 37th Trade Expo will be held at the Indonesian Convention Exhibition at Jakarta from October 19 to 23, 2022. Ambassador Basnoor told ENA that this is the biggest annual trade expo in Indonesia. Every year, the participants and outcomes of the trade expo increases. According to him, more than 20 Ethiopian business communities have participated in the trade expo in 2019. In 2020-21, Indonesia didn't organize the trade expo physically because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Embassy of Indonesia in Addis Ababa, in cooperation with the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, will organize the forum in Jakarta at the sidelines of Trade Expo Indonesia. It was planned.